Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 220, John. Yes, 220 of our Your Next Level Mastermind. And our topic for today is what keeps my ideal client awake at 2 o'clock in the morning. Interesting. But before we get to that, for those who are watching this recording, please make sure that these people here who are leaving their time with their work, with their clients, and with their business to share with you expertise, experiences, and thoughts and insights. Please make sure underneath the replay on YouTube that you actually reach out and connect with them. This is not being done enough. Not being done enough. These people are here for you, to help you. You have no idea what doors of opportunity or what doors of expertise they can open for you. Whatever you do, do not miss this opportunity. They come from all walks of life. I would not be saying this except for the fact that I trust each and every one of them 100%. My reputation is as good as safe with all these people. So please, whatever you do, don't miss the opportunity of connecting with Dr. Chris and we got two doctors in the house, right? Dr. Chris and Dr. Annika, with Christine, with Elena, with Alan, with Vangelis, who knows more about not just AI, but television and video production than I'll ever know. Tina, who's a woman of incredible talent because she's been there and done that with people in the most incredible ways possible. Tony B, man, if you're in an addiction situation any way, shape or form, he's the man to talk to. And John D. Allen, fall in love with your prospects' problems. That's what he's all about. Oh, and Alan, I nearly forgot you. My God, how can you forget Alan Edwards? And Alan Edwards, our man from the United Kingdom. Thank you very much, Alan. Wow, Brenda, good to see you as well. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Okay, with that in mind, let's get them to introduce themselves to you. And I'm going to start with you, John, because you were the first person here today, followed by Dr. Annika. Over to you, John.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, no matter where you are in this big wide world of ours. I'm John D. Allen, Allen Small Business Coaching. I preach fall in love with your prospect's problem, not your solution or program, because when it comes down to it, they don't really give a damn about your solution or program. What they want to know is, can you solve my problem? So if your sales are down or your investments down, you're not bringing in the money that you need or having the clients you need, reach out. Let's talk. I may or may not have the answers for you, but you never know till you find out. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you very much indeed. Dr. Annika, followed by Christine.
Hi, I'm Dr. Annika Sorensen from Sweden. Do you ever feel like everyone expects you to have it all together, but inside you're stretched so thin that it hurts? You're not alone. I worked with senior leaders who quietly carry the weight of the entire organization while silently struggling with stress and self-doubt and exhaustion. You see, as a former family doctor, I know the early signs of burnout long before it gets dangerous. And that's why I now help C-suite executives find calm in that chaos. And I do it through private mentoring, speaking, workshops, and soon to be a digital course. I help leaders like you reset so you can think clearly, lead powerfully, and feel like yourself again. And if your mind is always racing, but your energy is running really low, let's talk. One call could change everything and finally give you the breathing room that you've been craving for so long. Thank you, from Dr. Annika.
Beautifully spoken, Dr. Annika. And yes, my mind is always racing and it never damn stops. We need to talk. We need to talk. Christine. Christine, followed by Daniel.
Thank you, Peter. Good evening, everyone. I'm Christine Best, wellness strategist, and I empower leaders and teams through wellness in totality. And I do that using my Liberate system, a blueprint to wellness. Yeah, so what does that do? Well, it helps your people with their mental and physical wellness. And when they're well, they're more productive, they're more focused, they're happier. Your culture and your morale within your business is improved. And that oozes out to all your stakeholders, like your customers. So when people aren't well, they're not producing what they should. They're worried about how they feel. They're not focusing on the work so much. That's mistakes. And it's also, loss of your money slipping through your fingers. So I help you get a better return on your investment in your people.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
If you're getting a better return on your investment, that sounds pretty good to me.
That's the whole point of it, isn't it? And then it's a win-win because the customers win, the staff win, the business wins, the boss is happy, and he sleeps at night.
Especially at 2 o'clock in the morning. Well said indeed.
That's exactly right.
Daniel followed by Elena.
Hello, everyone. I'm Daniel Cabrera. I'm a high-energy, heart-centered life and business coach, international motivational speaker, and the host of a transformational and spiritual podcast called Redesign Your Life Today. I help spiritual business owners over 40 who feel stuck without a sense of direction to take their power back, to reclaim full clarity, motivation, and confidence, to be fully aligned with who they are and to become unstoppable. My superpower is to hold space for my clients so that they can feel understood, seen, heard, and that they can be fully comfortable to vulnerably express themselves in a space which is sacred and where there will not be fears to be judged, criticized, or given unsolicited advice. I help my clients with fully customized one-to-one or group coaching programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Spoken with incredible passion as always. Well done. Elena, followed by Dr. Chris.
Hi everyone, I'm Elena Palkova from UK, Brighton. I'm the founder of Mindset to Results, host of Mindset to Results podcast with more than 500,000 views within 11 months. Also, I'm founder of the Circle of Fame, the platform which unites the visionaries and inspires the growth. And I also mentor and business coach, helping driven business owners and entrepreneurs to unlock their true potential, understand, identify their inner saboteurs, and get power back and create results from within, inspired by their big dreams and goals and living life with fulfillment. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. Well said indeed. Well said. Dr. Chris.
Dr. Chris,
Bye-bye.
thank you, Peter. Dr. Chris Willems, ArtsMedia Consultants. I help business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs who loathe presenting get to love it and not feel like they come across as complete dicks on video and Zoom. Why is that important? Because 85% of all online communication these days is via video. So my aim is to get 50 executives in 50 weeks, comfortable, confident, and credible on camera. Dr. Chris Willems, ArtsMedia Consultants.
beautifully said, with so much, how would you say this, Chris? So much, not just passion, but an ability to get these darn senior execs feeling damn comfortable, right?
And experience.
Yes. I was waiting for Christine to say something there.
And she did.
And she did. Vangelis, over to you, followed by Tony B.
Hello, I'm Vangelis. Currently, I'm here in Costa Rica. I spend my time with the people in the technology world, and I help companies improve their key performance indicators because I see the big picture. And to me, the big picture is the hardware, the software, and the human element. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Tony B, followed by Tina.
Tony B, I run the Bunajudo movement. Before I begin, I'd like to give a special shout out to you, Peter, today. Our last call was life-changing for me. For you that don't know, Peter helped me go from more of a, I guess, lack of better terms, I was preaching to my clients and telling them how I fix my life rather than a little bit of a softer approach and taking the pain and the problem sales solution. And Peter helped me. He guided me through with a bunch of questions to ask my clients, and to not only did I start asking my clients, but I started inserting it into my social media from the point of creating some idea in the client's head of what their problems are, rather than giving them a lot of solution, because a lot of people that I help don't even know they have problems. I help people heal from the inside so they can live free on the outside. And that starts with the number one relationship, and that's the one you have with yourself. And then the second one is the one you have with God or higher power, universal energy, or whatever you call it. And I was preaching more than I was concerned. So I was trying to, let me just say it this way. I was trying to shove me down people's throats. And rather than do that, I'm taking a way softer approach by figuring out what their problems are and what their needs are, starting from the first words that come out of my mouth with my social media and my ad campaign. So Peter was instrumental in changing my way of doing things and immediate results from that flip. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Tony. It was a pleasure to help you. I just love your passion. I mean, you are contagious, mate. You are contagious. So thank you. Thank you indeed for the shout out. Tina Huggins, followed by Alan Edwards.
Well, and you're right. Tony does have a lot of passion, so helping him helps the world. So thank you for him too, Peter. So, all of the pain, the stress, and the overwhelm that divorcing men and women go through. Well, my job is to to take that pain, the stress, and that overwhelm away. There is a way to find peace to help their attorney. And by doing all of this, we save them thousands of dollars. My name is Tina Huggins. I'm a divorce coach specialist, your divorce planning specialist, restorative family mediator, and conflictual co-parenting coach. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Tina, very much indeed. Alan Edwards, followed by Jeff Veale.
Hi, Peter. Hi, everyone. I'm Alan Edwards from Hampshire in the UK, and I'm a property investment and development specialist. So we solve property problems, whatever they are, for either property owners who might have, for example, an empty building that's not earning them any money, and we transform this into high quality residential to help to satisfy the chronic shortage of accommodation in the UK. Or we may repurpose a building to achieve a higher revenue, or we can solve problems for investors by finding deals. So any sort of property related problem, from a distressed property, meaning it's water damaged, fire damaged, it's got Japanese knotweed, subsidence, any sort of problems we solve. So I'll put my details in the chat. But I'd just like to give a bit of a shout out to a couple of the people on the call. Christiaan, who I've mentioned before, her courses about wellness are excellent, and I've some experience of working through these with Christiaan, and also a couple of very talented, inspirational people on the call, Daniel and Elena, because I was suffering from a bit of a lack of inspiration to get going on my fitness regime on a Sunday morning, and they came on the phone from Paris. And can you believe that they got me started on my exercise program by dancing together, the three of us? So high energy.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. Cheers.
Well said, Alan. Well said. Well,
Thank you.
Jeff Veale, followed by Brenda.
I think I need to start dancing as well, Alan. In fact, it's on the agenda, but I like my donuts too much. Guys, my name is Jeff Veale. I'm the business guru. I'm based in downtown Manila in the Philippines. I'm an Australian. I've got a team up here, and we do all types of digital marketing, guys. We help you get seen, help you get heard. We've got a podcast called 15 Minutes of Fame, where it's all about you. We put you across all the different social media channels and put you in front of thousands of people. And also we do LinkedIn outreach, Facebook groups, you name it. If you come to anything in the digital space, guys, we're involved in it. And if I don't know it, I've got people around the world who do know it. So please, if you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'll put my details in the chat a little bit later. Thanks very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Brenda, over to you. You thought I'd forgotten you, hadn't you? But I'd never forget you, Brenda Sheldrake.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Brenda Marie Sheldrake, the Biz Leads Expert at Biz Leads Expert. I teach busy entrepreneurs how to generate more qualified leads for their business through relationship building. So I help you to create leads that last and clients that stick by getting referrals.
That's it.
I put my shout out in the chat already. It's to John D. Allen. He is the person I am most grateful for all time. I share his advice, giving credit to him, of course, all the time. And it really makes a difference for my clients.
Yeah, we all love him, even if he is sitting in the dark.
The check is in the mail.
Okay,
Peter,
sorry, John.
One sec, Peter. I'd like to give a special shout out to Mary Stanley. She's not here today, but she told me yesterday that the state of Minnesota is going to adopt her program for teaching the kids. They're putting together a program to work for the kids and everything else. So
that is
give her a shout out.
That's very good.
She deserves that. She really deserves that. Wow. Cool. Hang on. I'm meeting Daniel. Okay. Now, some quick apologies. Yvonne Jones, Mark Engstar, and George Norgal. Okay. Our topic for today, everybody. What keeps my ideal client awake at 2 o'clock in the morning? And before I ask you to do that, I just got these three from conversations I had in the last 24 hours. Okay. First, this guy said to me, Peter, I don't know how long I can keep going. Maybe I have to go and get a real job. Right. This guy is not a client of mine. He's working with another person, and whether that's working out or not, I didn't want to get involved with it too close, to be quite frank, but that's a comment he made. The other one was this, and this could resonate with you, Jeff, by the way. This lady said, I just can't keep doing everything myself, but I can't afford help either. Okay, that's what's keeping her awake at 2 o'clock in the morning. And finally, this is the one I got today. Everybody seems so confident, Peter. They're so confident. What in the hell is wrong with me? Right? What's wrong with me? Now, I've got hundreds of these and I just thought maybe you in a situation you'd like to share them as well. But let's start with you, Alan, because you're up there with the first hand up. So what keeps your ideal client awake at 2 o'clock?
Okay, Peter. Well, I think what you need to bear in mind is what John Allen always says, which is fall in love with your prospects' problems. And the people who I speak to have lots of different sort of problems. Sometimes they've got an empty property that's actually costing them money to keep empty, so I can solve a problem by repurposing it. Or there are people who are needing some form of remedial work to properties, like if it's in a distressed state, it's flood damage, water damage, fire damage, and any sort of damage can bring about a need for a quick refurbishment and upgrade in value. Or there may be people who are just not earning enough money on their investments. They've got money in the bank and it's earning them perhaps 4%. And we can actually triple that rate by finding suitable investments for them, which return 12% per annum. And I'll even talk in future about another scheme, which is not actually investing in physical property, but it's investing in shares in property. And this can return 18% per annum. So whatever your interest in property, then we can actually find a solution for you. That's all I'd like to say about what keeps my prospects up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you very much indeed. We'll get to you, Daniel, but before we do, I had a comment left to me last Friday, and I passed this person and your name on to them, by the way, Daniel, because he said, I'm exhausted, Peter. I've taken care of everybody else, but no one's supporting me at all. Okay, so I've given them your contact details, then, so I'll have to get in touch with you, and I'll message you later on about more. Anyway, over to you, Daniel. What keeps you up?
Well, Peter, I mean, what you just said as well, people being, exhausted, overwhelmed. Where do I need to go? I mean, it's, lack of clarity, being in the hamster wheel and, micromanaging. And sometimes, well, asking themselves the questions, am I really living the life I'm meant to be? Am I wasting my potential? Am I doing things I shouldn't be doing? And then another thing, it's about being stuck, repeating the same patterns, doing the same things, having the same issues, not seeing the outcome and really living the life to the true potential.
Very deep, Daniel. Very deep. These people at 2 o'clock in the morning will be, in many ways, stressing themselves more and more, correct? Dr. Annika, speaking of stress, we come to you.
Yes, yes, they are stressing themselves more and more, the longer the time is at night, because just like Daniel said, they are overwhelmed, they are running in the hamster wheel, my clients too, and they are not keeping up with what they were supposed to. And that brings the fear. And the more you stress, the less clear your thinking is, and you get all this shaky, and you don't feel well, and you lose your belief in yourself, and you start thinking about things. And yes, it can be like Daniel says, they start thinking about, am I really living the life that I want? But it can also be, oh, I am so much fearing that I will be taken off this work, so my family will lose we will lose the job, we will lose the money, and my wife gonna leave me, and you get into those negative things of everything, all the disasters that can happen because your thinking is fogged by the stress. And the more you think, the worse it gets. So you really, it's really hard to start to get back to sleep again. So that's something you have to learn tricks on how to get back into your calm thinking again in the middle of the night, so you can fall asleep again and wake up with at least some sleep, getting some sleep that night. But it's a process. When it starts, it's a process that you have to keep doing, and you have to practice these things that you need to do during the night.
Thank you, Dr. Annika. Thank you very much. Tony B.
I love your topics. Oh my goodness, right up my alley. And it's right up my alley because not only do I help people with this kind of thing, this stuff, these ideas that keep us up at night, but I've lived them. And what I learned from my experience is that it's really hard, or almost, I would call it impossible, to get back to sleep, trying to get back to sleep. This has to start in your day. The way to get back to sleep and get a better night's rest is to practice some things throughout your day. But before I go there, I'd like to just say that our minds are crazy, and the conditioning our minds have is only on what we know and what we've learned to know, what we've been conditioned and taught to know. And we think that we're powerful enough to think our way out of problems. And when we start to try to think our way out of problems, at least for me, what I did was I tried to think my way out of problems harder. And the more I tried to get out of the problem, the more I got into the problem, because the more I was thinking about getting out of the problem. And that just created this giant event of no way out. And it goes from your day into your night, and your mind can't shut off because you're trying to figure out why you can't sleep, first of all, and why life is so hard on you. So I believe in prayer, but I more importantly believe in meditation and focus meditation for specific solutions to this. And that's that you just sit for 13 minutes a day and you think about a spot 1 inch from the inside of your forehead. And every time you have a thought, you come back to that spot. Have a thought, come back to that spot. That's interesting. Come back to that spot. And once you do that, you can refocus your attention, and those thoughts you start to realize that your thoughts are only your thoughts, and they're not your reality, because where your feet are laying in bed is not where your thoughts are in, I'm going to foreclose on my house, or where am I going to get my next drug, or where am I going to get my next bottle of alcohol, or the guilt and remorse I have of trying to get out of this problem creates more guilt and remorse. So if you could refocus your thoughts, that you understand that life is only about where you are now, and it's not in the past or in the future, that you will definitely rest better at night. And I do help a lot of people with this idea that our thoughts can create ourselves, our reality. I was going to give a quick exercise, but more importantly, the way out is to basically spend more time not worrying, not fearing losing what I have or not getting what I want, and being grateful and enjoying the moment and what we have in life. And you hear some horror stories of a lot of people struggling these days. Thank God I'm not in LA right now. Those kind of situations are real. Ukraine and Israel and those things, and those are real problems. the problems I have in my head are not problems compared to where other people are. So it's really good to be able to help people through their problems. And that's the other thing, is that I get outside of myself by helping other people. See, when I start focusing on other people's problems and helping them, the number one thing that once they start to click and get it is I have them help other people. See, community is really good. And when you help somebody else, you start getting out of your own self. The minute I focus on somebody else's problem and show them what I've done to get out of it, that's the minute I free myself from my own problems. That becomes huge for me. So, yep, help other people. It's one of the best ways to have better night's sleep. Thanks.
Thanks, Tony. You just give me something. Just for all of you, but I'll get to your next, Vangelis, but before we do that, just conceptually think about it. If we have time today, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because the people who are watching this replay will get a different way of looking at you. And the question is this: if you could meet your client at 2 o'clock in the morning, right, and sit beside them on the bed and make them feel seen and heard and understood, what in the heck would you tell them? What would you tell them from your perspective? Have a think about that. If we've got time, I'd love to hear your feedback on that. But now, Vangelis, over to you.
I'd like to speak to the people that you don't really think you have a problem. Because what kept me up at 2 a.m., I was making a lot of money, very successful, living in $1 million home, great career, amazing, pristine health, and hating my life. So it's not always that you've got these problems external, because sometimes people, they stay up at night because they can't pay their rent. Well, what if you can? Or they don't have good health, but what if you do? And then you feel like trapped because you want to talk to people, but what you always get is you should be grateful, you should be appreciative, you should count your blessings. And so you really feel trapped in this world that I would have people say, gosh, I wish I had your life. And I'm thinking, no, you don't. You're seeing the outside stuff that you don't have. And when you have all that stuff, that doesn't mean everything is cool. So it's okay to feel like you're not living your life, even though all this stuff is going great. It's okay to look for ways that you can change it internally so you can actually be happy. I mean, I heard one guy say, look, I want to enjoy my life so much that I want to go into my world. And so when you're at that point where you don't even want to, so it's okay that when you do have all these other things working great and you don't feel like you are living your life, it's okay to reach out. And that's why all of the people here are there, because you're going to identify with somebody and they're going to hear you and listen to you and support you. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Thanks.
Well said, Vangelis. Well said indeed. Yeah. I was on a mastermind earlier today, and I heard this lady say, I don't know what to focus on today, let alone tomorrow. That's probably what's keeping her awake at 2 o'clock in the morning as well. Christine, over to you.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, I think about the types of clients that are awake at 2 o'clock. Quite often a business that has grown based on systems that worked when they first started, but now the systems don't work for them. They're inadequate in some way. And what happens is tasks fall through the cracks, and then you have clients jumping up and down and you're running around putting out fires. So that creates stress in all your workers, and the boss is you know, pulling out his hair, waking up at 2 o'clock, worrying about all these people who are taking sick leave because they're stressed and because he's got all these fires going on and he's having trouble putting them out, and it's costing him money, but it's costing his health. So where I come in, not only helping people with strategies to help them cope with the stress, I have the experience of helping fix up those systems so that they work for the organization, and then there are no more fires. So the business starts to work proactively rather than reactively. I have miles of experience. I've worked in a place where it was a nightmare, and people didn't have time to fix the problems that were there, even if they knew where to look. But most of those people didn't really know where to look. So when I got into this organization, I fixed up a whole lot of things. There were things like their documentation. There were some procedural things, very simple things, really. So it took me a while because I did an O&M study. I did diagrams to tell me exactly how the jobs flow in and through the business. And I understood exactly what was going on. And then I could pinpoint exactly where the problems were. So then in that way, not only do I help people with their wellness, I also fix up the system so that it will work into the future for the organisation. And then the boss sleeps better and the people are more productive.
Good.
Thanks, Peter. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Brenda.
Thank you so much, Peter. I kind of want to answer this in sort of two ways, because the first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to tell on myself, because the thing that keeps me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I commented on it to Dr. Annika, I wake up in the middle of the night. I wake up, nature calls, I get up, I go to the bathroom, I come back to bed, I crawl back into bed, and the first thing I think of is, what's the next bill I have to pay? And then the next thing I think of, it's like this snowball. The next thing I think of is, what's the bank balance? Will the credit card that I've got that bill payment on go through? What am I going to do if it doesn't go through? What am I going to say to my husband when it doesn't go through? What am I going to say to the person I have the bill for? And before I know it, I'm wide awake, spinning around in my bed, tossing and turning, no thoughts of going to sleep, and no solution. Worst of all, no solution in sight. And I think that those same problems that I experienced, those same sleepless night toss and turns, I think those happen to a lot of my clients too. And I believe that that's one of the main reasons that entrepreneurs give up on their business. The message that I put, Peter, after you shared that message from one of the people who was talking about what kept them awake, I put a message in the chat to that person, because the message I want to give to people is, don't quit. Don't quit. We're one miracle away from all our solutions. And that's one of the things I love the most about this group, is that everybody shares so much hope and positivity. Reach out to the people who share the hope and positivity. Don't be afraid to share that thing that's keeping you up at 2 o'clock in the morning, because that's the only way you're going to find the solution. It isn't there under the covers. Thank you, Peter.
Brenda, that was extremely honest. Thank you so very much indeed. And you are not the only one who's awake at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning thinking like that. Yeah, we are only one miracle away. But you know what, Brenda? When I've had nights like that, people have said to me, what you need to do is listen to this pouring rain music, or I've tried all these things. It doesn't work for me. Okay, and now Dr. Annika, I'm looking at you and I'm saying this. My greatest challenge, I can resonate with exactly what you said, Brenda, because my greatest challenge is I cannot cut off.
Thank you.
That's my greatest challenge. And if I could, I would be able to do it a lot better, but I can't do that. Anyway, enough of me. All right, who'd like to go next? Elena, we haven't heard from you. You're muted.
Yes.
Okay.
Which questions? Yes, you can hear me, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. So the questions which my clients ask is, why do I feel stuck, overwhelmed, or behind? They've read the books, they done the courses, and yet the cycle repeats. Another question what they ask is, why do I keep sabotaging when I should be scaling? They know that it's not a lack of skill. They have it enough. But they understand that there is something internal. Another question what they ask themselves is, what if I never reach the potential I know is inside of me? So they have that quiet fear of dying with their greatness still locked inside. And what I help them is to find who they are, what is their strength, what's their really big dreams, desires, which will inspire them to start doing what they really love to do, finding their purpose in life, finding their mission in life, and live with fulfillment.
Thank you, Elena. Very much indeed. Fulfillment is the key word, by the way. Tina, can we go down this route with you? What keeps your divorcing clients awake at 2 o'clock in the morning? Can we talk about it publicly?
Yes, we can talk about it. I often will sit with a client at 2 o'clock in the morning. I've done that for years, made myself available for specific situations for them, specifically our vets who go through a very difficult time. But the fear is what keeps my clients up at night. They're afraid of where the money's going to come from. They're afraid of if they're going to have to move, where they're going to live, if their friends are going to talk to them, if their family's going to support them. They're just afraid. So fear is, in general, the reasons why clients stay up at night. And my clients actually have the ability to text me 24/7. So even if I'm asleep and can't return their call, they can text that long text, short text to just get it off their chest, which usually helps them at least get a few hours of sleep from then on. And then the next morning, I jump on a call with them as soon as I can. So we can either talk them off the ledge or work through the situation. I had that happen last night with 2 of the clients. So right away this morning, I was with them trying to set up time that I could see them today. So fear is what keeps my clients up at night.
Thank you, Tina. Very much indeed. And I meant to say this, Elena, before when you finished. There are so many people who do feel stuck, who do feel overwhelmed. There's no doubt about that. And they've done all the courses, they've read all the books, but have they really done that? Have they really done it? The issue is they may have read it, but they're not implementing anything. That's the point of it. And we've got to address, why aren't you taking the action required to do it? And that's why you need people like Elena for, to do exactly that, to kick them in the butt and keep them on the straight and narrow. So,
well, it's not just to kick them in the butt, really. It's to help them connect the dots.
Okay. Sorry, I'll be much more polite. Beg your pardon. That's true. That's true. Well done. Dr. Chris, what about you, my man? What keeps your executives up at 2 o'clock in the morning worrying about whatever it is?
Well, mostly they're asking, what's Peter Beckenham doing sitting on the edge of my bed at 2 o'clock in the morning?
That raised a big question.
I think it's fascinating listening to all the comments, because I think they're quite common to most people, and things like overwhelm, things like anxiety about where's the next money coming from, all those kinds of things, and I think. I mean, I've never actually asked the client what keeps them awake at 2 o'clock in the morning, but I hope it's that they've got a presentation coming up and they're packing death because they hate doing it, and they say, "Please help me," even at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and with CEOs, because I mean, Dr. Annika, she deals with CEOs as well. With CEOs, a lot of them, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Chris, but a lot of them are very confident in what they do, but at the same time, they don't want to make a fool of themselves, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things I've discovered repeatedly over the last 25 years of doing this is that no matter how successful people are, everyone has their insecurities, and they're very, very good at covering them up, especially to their staff if they're a CEO. And but once you get under the skin of that insecurity, and I find that they're actually quite relieved that they've been kind of discovered, that insecurity has been discovered, because it allows them to talk about it or deal with it in a supportive kind of way. So yeah, I mean, insecurity and fear are pretty common, I think, at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Thanks, Chris. Well done. Jeff Veale, what about your clients at 2 o'clock in the morning?
I'm the one up at 2 o'clock in the morning worrying. I've got a lot of clients in the States, so consequently I'm on webinars, and my sleep patterns are all over the place. Because I've got a bit of a pattern now, but I'm talking to clients in America all the time, and look, my attitude is no one's coming to save you. You've got to save yourself. If you're in business, you've got to save yourself. No one is coming to save you. You've got to invest in yourself. And the frustrating part for me is a third of the people, the rough figure, that pay me money, don't follow up. We say, hey, where's your stuff? We need your LinkedIn account. We need your Facebook account. We need to do this. We're ready to move. My VA is ready. And then crickets, for 1 or 2 weeks, that type of thing. So that's somewhat frustrating. So I feel that a lot of these people create their own problems. You got with the podcast I do. And by the way, Alina was on the podcast recently, and she was awesome. So if you want to speak to Alina, she's bloody awesome. I was very impressed, Alina. But people have got to invest in themselves. They've got to get out of their own way, and that's what I don't know. That's I guess what keeps them up at night is their own problems, their own insecurities, that they won't invest in themselves. And if they do invest, they don't follow through on it. And you got to do what it takes, guys. As we all do. We're all entrepreneurs here. We all do what it takes, and that's my secret. Do what it takes. So that's my spin on the whole thing, Peter.
Thank you, Jeff. John.
Thanks, Peter. One of the things I've been listening to everybody today, and they got a lot of great information. Dr. Chris, may I suggest you ask your clients what keeps them up at 2 o'clock in the morning? You may be surprised at some of the answers you get. One of the things, I was just dealing with a gentleman the other day, and he was busy telling me how great, grand, and wonderful he was, and he wasn't getting any clients. I said, so after you talk about you, what else do you want to talk about? Have them tell you how great they are? And he had the most surprised look on his face. I said, your biggest problem is your clients don't give a rat's ass about you. They care about themselves. So one of the things that keeps a lot of prospects up at night, like everybody said, is worrying about their business, how they're going to pay their bills, whatever it is. Or another thing is, what do I need to change to make my business different? What bright new shiny object is out there that I can go get that's going to miraculously solve all my problems? Well, there isn't any. And, you've got everything you need inside you, like Elena said. You have to discover it. You have to use it. We all do great work. there's not a soul on this call that isn't an expert in whatever they do. But you've got to let that shine through. Let people see. Don't be the best kept secret. You know, Tina does a great job of speaking with her clients at 2 or 3 in the morning. You know, we could all do that figuratively, maybe not, you know, actually doing it, but we can all correspond with our clients to find out what their real problem is. And when you know what the real problem is, that's how you can help them solve it. And Peter, I owe you a great deal of thanks for this, for introducing me to Ari Gulper and some other people. You know, you've really changed my thinking. So everybody here, pay attention to what these people say. There's tons of gold been shared on this call right now. Thank you, everybody.
Well said, John. Thank you very much indeed. Before we wind it up, we've got just 1 or 2 minutes left. I mentioned earlier, if you could sit in the bed, I know I heard your comment, Chris, but if you could sit in the bed of your potential client at 2 o'clock in the morning and talk to them and make them feel heard and understood, what in the heck would you say to them from your perspective? Has anyone got a thought on that? Just so people who are watching the replay can get to know you a little bit more. Elena.
I would say them, you are playing small. You don't know who you are and what is your really true potential. Get to big goal. Think really, if there was no limit, if you would be 100% guaranteed that you succeed, what you would go for in your life. Find that big goal, find that big purpose and go for it. Live every moment with that feeling of emergency, like feeling that you are here for something big, for something that is very important, because you are unique. You have your unique strength and gift. So stop think small. Stop worry about any problems. Just connect to your true self. Believe in yourself that you can do that. Have faith in God who created you, who gave you this life, which is a miracle every moment. Focus on what you can do instead of what you can't, and go for it. Find community of people who will support you, who believe in you, and do your first steps. Become disciplined, becomes obsessed with your ideas, choose people who you surround yourself wisely, and get focused. Make plan every evening for your next day. Choose 6 tasks which are non-negotiable, and start doing things instead of losing energy of worrying, because worry will not bring you anywhere. It's just draining your energy. Cut off your saboteurs, those enemies which are indecision, doubt, and fear. Understand that it is not you. This is enemies in your mind. You have cut them off and focus what is bringing you positive energy, what gives you purpose in life, mission, and yes, and believe in yourself, because you can do everything what you just can think about. If you think about this, it means that it is already exists in that future, and you have everything to get there. Just see that and come from the place of the wish fulfilled.
Thanks, Elena. Stop thinking small. Well said indeed. I know time's against us, but I want to hear what you have to say. So very quickly, Dr. Annika.
I would, in the middle of the night, I would not tell them anything, but you are okay, you are human, this is gonna be all right. We're gonna talk for a little while if you want, and then I help them with like a mini meditation to help them to get back on sleep, and then book a meeting the next day or whenever to get back on what the problem is. But in the middle of the night, they don't want to hear anything else, but that they are okay. That's
Thank
the
you,
wrong
Annika.
time to have a lesson
Okay.
in my life, what I see.
Right. So I won't expect you at 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, Brenda.
My comment is just regarding the best kept secret. I love what John said today about not talking about yourself all the time when you're with your clients. But in reference to not being the best kept secret, one tip, find a podcast. There's a whole bunch of people on here who do podcasts. Find a podcast that speaks to the problem you solve. Go share on that podcast and then share that you've shared on the podcast on your social media. That will help you to not be a best kept secret. And visibility is not bragging.
I like that. Visibility is not bragging. That's true. Well done. Christine.
I would teach a person at 2 o'clock in the morning how to breathe. Because when you learn to breathe, you learn to relax and it frees your mind. And then I'd say to them, now let's chat, let's get things organized so that we can move in a forward direction. And then they can sleep peacefully.
Beg your pardon. I must give you a shout out on that very point. This lady taught me how to breathe. Here I am nearly 80 years old, and I've been breathing all the wrong way for all my darn life. So thank you, Christine. You don't have no idea how many hours sleep I've got because of your advice. Well done indeed. Vangelis.
I had a person a couple of weeks ago, didn't really share too much until I started sharing. Started talking about me. And every time I said, oh, that's exactly how I'm thinking. Oh, so you're not the only person. So sometimes, this is not a procedure or formula. Every situation is unique. And sometimes people want to know they're not the only one that's successful and doesn't like their life. And so a lot of times I share about me because then they realize that they can identify with what I'm saying and they feel comforting that, so how did you get out? Then we can talk. So I just wanted to let people realize that, sometimes just you talking about your stuff, it takes away, it makes it softer for them. So because I don't like people telling me what to do. And so when I tell them, I don't like people telling me, yeah, I don't either. So here we are. You're building a connection. And the way that I have seen is that when I talk about my situation and what I went through, it helps them make that connection. Thanks.
Well said. Goodness gracious me. Those people who are watching this recording, I hope like mad you are taking note of what's being shared, because there's some brilliant thoughts being shared here. Tony B, wrap it up.
I'll be quick. Christina, first of all, thank you for teaching Peter how to breathe. If he wasn't breathing, he wouldn't be with us right now. And I like the idea that you taught him how to do that.
Thanks, Tony.
I like the statement that says there's not a storm that comes that will not pass. So I would sit next to their bed and say, first of all, if they're calling you, they learned how to call, which is a first move. And which also tells me it's not the first time they've been up all night. So I would tell them, I'm 58. So I would tell them, you're 58 years old. How many times has God brought you to this point and you've made it through it? You can do this because you know how to get through this stuff. It's not the end of your world. You'll know when it's the end of your world. And that's what I would tell them. They made it through it. Tony. They can get through it again.
Well said. Let me finish with this one point. One thing that does get me through the night at 2 o'clock in the morning when I'm waking up, for whatever reason, after I do your breathing, Christine, okay, if I'm still awake, one thing that sorts it out for me is, how can I help somebody else? That always gives me the opportunity to go back to sleep. Thinking about how can I give someone a memorable experience. I think about that. That's positive. It makes me feel good. And next thing you know, I'm going back to sleep. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much indeed for everything you've done today. I love you dearly, and I appreciate you giving up your valuable time, your expertise, and more importantly, in this session today, you shared some of the very best ideas I've ever heard. I really, really hope people take notice of what was shared, because it was brilliant. Okay. All the best. Thank you.
Yeah.